This was intended to answer the Crowder on Vince Irini in Pittsburgh's claim that they have the right to demand that I forswear um, payment for my hard work and rather promise to turn it over to murderers who tortured me and said I had no right to exist or own property. And to help our poor. None of these people have ever been deaf. None of these people have ever tried to help those who face hardship in order to protect them. All they've ever done is lie and make up these big money schemes. They were caught red handed stealing $8 million from a museum. Yet they persist, and the government congratulates them on their persistence. None of these people were ever 2 years homeless and deaf, suffering seizures and convulsions from torture. None of these people have ever been spitefully misled about a medicine that left them chemically castrated over a fraud. And then seeing the woman they were hoping to protect murdered anyway. I was hoping to protect the person who was being held hostage. So I took the medicine that UW military demanded I take. Compliance was the word they were using. To not comply was defiant trespass. What did they do after I took the medicine? They murdered her anyway in spite. And the deans of humanities administration of Seattle said, Sacre bleu, this is the new world, the new order, celebrate, claiming it was done over a penny. This is an answer to that. What is the issue? Well, the primary issue is that Wilzel Brum said to me in 1981 at the latest, what would you think was a scheme to transform the human race by injecting the blood? This was before AIDS was really well known or known at all. And he ended up running the military operation on Mount Desert Island in 1988 at the Immunogenetics Laboratories with the Gurdjieff Society, wearing a Green Party maintenance uniform. What would you think of a scheme to transform the human race by injecting the blood in the context as a neighbor, Mike McGarvey, one of the original gutter snipes who played King Crimson for me, and used it by their own admission for a group project with its reference to paranoia and poison in reference to Death Seed. In the context of the neurological injury that they inflicted, the opening line is neurosurgeons scream for more. In light of the letters from Gail Burstyn, in light of the fact that a Bara Ali, who's probably the gang I suspect is behind these strange fires, knew both Will Zoe and Gail Burstyn, the author of the script. If she didn't know Gail Burstyn, there's no reason for me not to suspect that she must have known people who were close Confederates of theirs. They were both raised by Jewish Holocaust survivors in the same little backwater. And they certainly both knew and identified me as an object in this. She knew Zoe. And she grew up in the Holocaust survivor community that produced the letters of Gail Burstyn. And she took me to Harlem once, if I remember correctly. That's all very suspicious. Now, in their mania, the supporters of that gang made this an issue of Gail Burst and said they could bark at the white about money, slasher murder. The issue was never about John Lennon for me. I learned that they were using that as a smokescreen for what Roselle did later. Zell was of the Gurdjieff Society, nor the Own Forest, as was Walter Hodarewski, who Robert Fripp's gang introduced me to in West Virginia. That's just a hop, skip, and a jump when you pour on milk. What would you think of a scheme to transform the human race? And they want me to duel out against the slanders, the womanly slanders of Louis Lapham and Paul McCartney, saying I'm fighting Lazarus, the spirit of forgiveness for Adolf Hitler, the walrus, the ghost, duel with the ghost, the invisible arm of Ouspensky and Blas from the ancient history of Cubism and fourth dimensionalism, manipulated by friends of Mussolini in Hollywood known as the Futurists. Danes escaped Hitler's onslaughts in Czechoslovakia. A man named Haka had a heart condition as I do, probably worse than mine. I don't know. Was left to be humiliated by Adolf Hitler, who had nothing but contempt for human weakness. That's what you see as the theme of Moon and Zappa, contempt for human weakness. They saw the idea of poisoning each other as strength, as an orgy. They despised attempts to intervene, to protect, and provide information. And they spurned the idea of rewarding hard work based on an attempt to warn people to protect them. Spurned it as weakness. On behalf of who? On behalf of Zell. An advocate for Goebbels, who the NAACP anointed an honorary ancestor of the Jewish Defense League because of lies spun up by our elite friends like Matt Marcus, who burned a girl's arm gangrenous in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood with a poker from a fireplace to bring her back to reality. How many people would they bring back to reality with this other attack? And you tolerate them, and you spurn me because you had me crying as a 9-year-old when you objectified me for Michael Reagan's favorite scene. Groomers and pedos for Ronald Reagan. Sneering the license of John Lennon and Yoko Ono for their vampirage. And they gloat that they're vampires. They wear the widow's peak to justify their peep show, their genocide porno. And you expect me to be Haka. You expect me to humiliate myself before Hitler and Moon Unit Zappa and say, forgive me. Take our country's narrative. Lie to everyone forever.